I'll talk about how we can improve our communications by harnessing our energy. How many of you have ever felt nervous in front of a group? What's going on? It's adrenaline. This is the old protection mechanism that protected the caveman and the cavewoman from the caveman. Protected the caveman from death. In our biological system is stored this notion of fight or flight. Here's what happens. It's in the old caveman brain that's located right on top of the spinal cord. It's the oldest part of the brain. It's still working in us, and it carries the emotion. So when you feel nervous, your body sends the adrenaline in, and the adrenaline says, okay, fight or flight. So what happens? The adrenaline's, you're standing up here, you got your note cards in a class, you start dancing around, the adrenaline's going, and it's making you nervous. This happens to everyone because adrenaline is flowing. So what you have to do is harness the adrenaline. It's always going to happen. Happens to me. So what do? Do you notice that I move when I present? Why? I'm burning up the adrenaline. Do you notice that I gesture? Do you notice I have enthusiasm? All that is there, so I'm constantly burning that adrenaline until it's gone, especially at the beginning. Why do I start and say, good morning? I'm burning off that adrenaline, man. I'm ready. So that's what you have to do. You have to know that the adrenaline's going to flow, and you have to use it. Mr. Zhao, would you bring that red notebook right there? Thank you. So why is this skill so important for you to learn now? It's because all business professionals earn their living based upon their ability to convey information and ideas to others in a way that causes them to listen and take action on your recommendations. Once again, every business professional today, especially today in the 21st century, earns their living based upon their ability to convey information and ideas in a way that causes people to listen and take action. This is our service economy. This is our knowledge economy. So each one of you have the ability to control the image that you project to others. Now, you may not like it. You may not want to take responsibility. You have not taken responsibility for that in the past. But starting now, for those of you who are seniors, this is really important. Because you're going to be out in the cold, cruel world very soon. Juniors, you only got a year, but you might as well begin building in some habits right now. Mr. Singleton taught me a long time ago. He said to me, Chris, the camera is always on. Whatever you're doing, other people are noticing. And when you get into business, your ability to persuade people is going to be based upon, we talked about this last time, people buy things, they buy ideas from people they like. So you had better be likable to a lot of people. When you're addressing a group, you better convey that you're likable. How do you do that? You smile. And a lot of you are not used to smiling. Well, we're going to work on that. So let's now think through. What kind of image would you like to project? Would you like to project the image of cold, heartless, aloof, crazy, disorganized? How would you like to be seen, Mr. Cockrell?
Confident.
Confident. What else? Ms. Kroon?
Enthusiastic.
Enthusiastic. Ms. Stevenson?
Positive.
Positive. Got this? Here's the exercise. You're going to set your image goal for this class. Take that idea right now. Mr. Zhao, would you collect those at the back when people pass them back? And you're in this too.
Okay.
Good. In front of you, you have your image goal sheet. I would like you to put your name on the top left, your last name, and your first name, doesn't make any difference. Second, put your team number to the right. Got a question about your team? Make sure you ask Ms. Kroon. Team 2. Mr. Dean. Mr. Dean, you replaced Mr. Flaherty. Team 4. Now I want you to think through. What image goals, how do you want to be seen by others? What image do you want to project? And I want you to write as many of those. If you have 5 image goals, fine. If you have 1, that's fine. If you have 2 or 3. Here's what I'm going to do. Every time you make your presentation, I'm going to remind you and your classmates of the image goal that you set. So it stays foremost in your mind. How do you want other people to see you? Confident? Enthusiastic? Articulate? Motivating? Dull? Boring? Knowledgeable? Intelligent? Inspiring? When you're finished, I'll need your attention. One comment before we start. Everyone, need a couple more minutes, that's all right. I'll wait. What's more important? What you say or how you say it? Mr. Newland.
How you say it?
Why?
Because that, you might have an idea in your head of what you're trying to say, but what the message that people will receive varies from person to person. It's communicating how you say it.
Practice it, Mr. Chan. Oh, wait. You got it, okay. Say that again.
The way that you say something affects the meaning that's formed in other people's minds, the people who are listening to you.
If it's just the material, put your PowerPoint in a package, send it in an email to someone else, and wait for the phone to ring. Yes, the content's important, but how you deliver it is much more important. So now let's talk about how the things that get in your way to a clear presentation. First of all, what gets in the way as when people watch you. Because remember, you want people focused on you intently, and you want them to listen to what you're saying. So if there's something about you that's distracting, what happens? Ms. Denson?
People are going to be
They're going to be thinking about What's nirvana? I mean, why is that? See, you guys do it too. You go offline. You're looking right at me and psh, off you go. So to the extent that you want people to listen and take action, you have to maintain their attention. So we want to get rid of every distraction. So what are some distractions? Your appearance. What else?
Fidgeting.
So you're fidgeting. Okay, what else?
Non-words.
Non-words. Actually, you got him. That's to the ear. What's another one?
Other things going on in the room.
Distractions. Okay? How about if they stand in one place? What happens? Blah 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 blah. What happens?
It's boring.
Boring. So if you don't move, the lack of movement. So lack of movement. How about if I deliver my entire presentation in a monotone? How long will you listen? I'm sorry, lack of movement. This is your intonation. How about if you talk too fast? If you talk like you're really excited and you talk like this the whole time and you... Is that distracting? God, stop it. So if you, to your ears, it's your voice. Your voice control. The extent to which you can speed up when you need to and slow it down for emphasis. Which leads us to one of the master strokes. The ability to pause. Pauses are wonderful. After you make a great point, you say, "This is it." People reflect. What's that about? Why was he? If you don't do this, what happens? Mr. Nunn?
People don't think about what you're saying.
They just are ready for the next thought. They lose the whole impact. If you're going to persuade, you have to pause. You can't text. Mr. Chang, you're not texting, are you? Put it away, please. To what extent, how important is it for you to maintain good eye contact with your audience? How do you feel when someone presents to you and they look you right in the eye? Mr. Fouget was looking right over here. How's it feel?
You have to pay attention.
You have to pay attention. How does it feel to you, Ms. Woosley, when someone speaks to you in a presentation and they're looking right at you?
I feel like they're directing it to me specifically.
How does that make you feel?
Makes me feel good.
Exactly. If your presentation is made up here, or down there, or looking at this way, or doing this, you lose confidence. And the three things you always want to maintain are confidence, control, and credibility. Those are the magic 3 C's. One thing is your ability to gesture. What are gestures about? Why are they important? Ms. Bach. Are you?
It shows interest and make people pay attention.
Yes, there's another important point. What else is it? How do people remember things?
Do you help them visualize? Trying to help them visualize what you're talking about.
See, in your brain, you don't think in words, right? You have a continuous stream of images going in your brain. When you think about work, you don't think about W-O-R-K, you think about what you're doing. Everyone thinks in images. So the more when you plant a gesture, if you're saying, I'm going up north, or I was so excited, or we want to make sure in the United States that we go toward the East Coast rather than the West Coast, or reversed. And to the extent that we can paint those visual pictures, then that's how people remember. They also remember based upon the images that you project. That's another subject we're gonna talk about soon. That's why we don't want any words, as a principle, on PowerPoint slides. No words. Because that's how people remember. If you put words up there, then they read the words, and what do? They take their eye off you. And you are the presentation, not your slides. People come to hear you, and you have their full attention. So we make sure that we understand what distracts, because we want them to have 100% attention on you. How important is it for you to move? Two purposes. One, it becomes strategic. You walk and talk. One eyeball for 2 or 3 seconds, and then you shift your focus to someone else, and you pivot. And you'll come over here and make your presentation to someone else. Then you'll stop and make a presentation here. And then your next point may be made right here. So the moving is strategic. What does that do for the audience? What does it convey? Confidence. You're doing this. See, that doesn't display confidence. And if you want people to buy what you're selling, you must always convey confidence. Number 2. Mr. Singleton's in my ear, because I don't smile enough. I still don't smile enough for him. And I know I don't smile enough. That's why, just like a smoker who no longer smokes hates the smell of smoke, I will be overly instructive in helping each one of you smile more. Because if you smile, you light up the entire room. That's got it. Those are the distractions. So now what I want you to do, given you your knowledge of your presentation ability right now, if you can think of some of the things here that may distract your listeners, write them down. Write them down this way. I want to pause more. You don't write down what you did badly, because you don't want to reaffirm that. You want to write down, smile more. Pace appropriately. Pause. If you can think of some things that are specific for you, write 2 or 3 of those down, but leave some room, because after you see yourself, you're going to come up with some new ones. My gosh, I never knew I did that. Boom. Now you've got a new goal to set. So do that right now. In the needs section, write down some things, some specific things that if you do them, they will reduce the distractions and cause people to see you more confidently. I'm going to use this every time you speak. I'm going to be at the back of the room, and I'm going to say, Miss Pruitt's goals are to be seen as whatever you put down, confident, motivating, and to get closer to that, she's going to do this. I'm going to remind you of that every time. And then the class is going to hold you accountable to helping meet those goals. And they're going to give you feedback for what you did well and what needs improvement. In the short span of this class, you're going to improve dramatically. Some of you will make dramatic improvements. You know which ones those are? Those are the ones who agree up front to get out of their comfort zone and to try some new things in front of the camera so you can see how you are, how your image is being projected. I'm going to encourage you. Questions? Would you pass those forward? And I'd like Mr. Carmen to put those in teams, because everyone has a team number. Do it, Chris. Thank you, sir. Now, team one is going to begin today, and I'm going to work with Mr. Zhao just a second to do one more thing. What we're going to do is I'm going to ask you to come up. You're going to stand right here, and you're going to tell us your name, where you're from, what your major is, and what you hope to do when you graduate. Real simple. If you forget one, it's okay. And just be yourself. Now, Mr. Zhao, you can turn that off.